Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about multifamily sales comps here in Orange County that closed in Q1 of 2025. This is anywhere from January 1st, 2025 all the way through March 31st, 2025. Multifamily property sales that closed in Orange County between 5 units and 100 units. So we're going to go through all the closings. We're going to talk about Santa Ana as a market. We're going to talk about coastal as a market, and we're going to talk about non-coastal inland Orange County as a market. And that's excluding Santa Ana, because Santa Ana has its own rent control. We've seen prices, they're different. They're lower, candidly, than some of these other markets without as strict of rent control within Orange County. So we broke out Santa Ana. So those are the 3 segments we're going to talk about. We're going to dive in on all the sales. I went through each and every one of these transactions one by one, vetting them. We excluded a couple that were mixed use. We excluded a couple that really weren't true comps. So of the total market, there was a total of 25 sales that closed escrow in Orange County in Q1. Now we break this down. We're going to break it down for coastal first. Coastal, there was 10 transactions that closed. The average price per unit in coastal Orange County, this is anywhere from Seal Beach all the way down to San Clemente. The average price per unit was $535,000 per unit. And the average price per foot was $609 a foot. The largest transaction that took place in coastal Orange County was in Huntington Beach. Our team actually sold the property, represented the seller and the buyer of the transaction. It closed off market. This property was 14 units on England. This closed for $8,750,000. This was actually the largest transaction in all of Orange County for the quarter. So the larger transactions, $10, $20, $30 million sales, there really wasn't any for the quarter. $8,750,000 in total dollar volume was the largest transaction. So coastal market has held up really well. Huntington Beach has been an active market. Our team also sold 340 Cypress Drive in Laguna Beach, sold at 100% of the asking price for $4,700,000. We represented the seller and also a 1031 exchange buyer that closed escrow on the property. It was a fantastic location. We traded that investor that acquired that property in Laguna Beach out of 2 side-by-side fourplexes in the city of Orange. We did not count those fourplexes on the sales because those are 4 and under. We omitted that from this market summary of these 25 sales that took place within Orange County. This is really commercial properties, which means anything that's 5 units, any properties that are 5 units and larger require a commercial loan. So we omitted the 2 to 4plex transaction market. That market has been healthy and transacting well. The 5 to 100 unit sales have slowed down. And just to back up a little bit, why they've slowed down is the lenders are going to lend off the cash flow. They're not going to lend off just LTV. So buyers are going to have to put down more right now with elevated interest rates. So the LTVs are being compressed. Buyers are having to put down 50+% in a lot of instances. So that's taken a lot of buyers out of the marketplace that do want to transact. They just don't have the liquidity available to acquire assets. It's hard to get into these as prices in Orange County have remained elevated. And also there's just not a lot of sales going on. I'll dive in deeper into this video on what's on the market and give some glimpse as to some market data there. But moving on, so that's the coast. The coastal market has been the premier market within Orange County. High demand, owners want to go to flight to quality, buy good real estate, and some sellers are saying, you know what, if I can get a good price for my real estate, I'm going to divest. They're either exchanging, simplifying, or cashing out. Okay, so moving on, we're going to go to inland Orange County, again, excluding Santa Ana. This is the Anaheim, Garden Grove, Westminster, Fullerton, Placentia, Cypress, Buena Park, to name a number of the cities. There was a total of 11 sales that took place in inland Orange County. The average price per unit was $330,000 per unit. The average price per foot was $419 a foot. Anaheim led the charge in a number of transactions. The largest unit size property that closed escrow in Q1 for the entire market of Orange County was only 16 units. I had to dust off this and check it multiple times because I'm like, wow, that's really small. It's these smaller properties that are really leading the transaction volume in the marketplace. But for an entire quarter, 90 days, there's a lot of buildings in Orange County, and the largest property size was 16 units to close. So there was a couple of them actually, one on Mountain View Avenue in Anaheim, and then also one on Sycamore that just closed. Also, there was a 15 unit property in Garden Grove and another 16-unit property in Garden Grove. But that was the largest number of units to close in the marketplace. So moving on, we've covered coastal, we've covered inland Orange County, now into Santa Ana. Santa Ana had 4 property sales. We started to see some transactions tick up within Santa Ana. I think some sellers are kind of meeting the market, and there's buyers that are kind of entering the market and closing transactions. We're seeing some affordable housing groups acquiring assets in Santa Ana, and some of those trades actually hit some decent price per foot. We saw $395 a foot on one smaller property in Santa Ana and $359 a foot in Santa Ana. Those were on the higher end. So the averages for Santa Ana, $253,000 per unit and $344 a foot on these 4 trades. So all in all, you add that up, coastal there was 10 sales, inland Orange County there were 11, in Santa Ana there were 4 sales, a total of 25 sales. The largest transaction again was 14 units in Huntington Beach for $8,750,000, and the largest number unit transaction to close was 16 units in the city of Anaheim. Now, we pulled a little bit more data, and this is kind of what I mentioned earlier in the video. Well, that's nice. These properties have closed, and we've got a good market report, and we can send this to anyone, by the way, who wants a copy of this. I have each address broken out, the city, the price, all throughout the market. I've got all the data, the year built, the square footage, the unit mix. I got the whole thing. So let us know if you want the report. But what I'm going into is what was for sale. What is currently for sale in the market in Orange County? Well, per CoStar and MLS, there are 75 properties currently on the market within Orange County that have not sold yet, that are currently for sale. The average days on market per CoStar and MLS is 116 days on the market for those 75 properties. And there are a total of 17 properties currently in escrow. So that's 92 properties either on the market or in escrow. So I think we're going to have a comparable quarter for closings here in Q2. Rates, if you've been watching along, the 10-year Treasury has been very volatile, and that's affecting the bottom line for investors trying to acquire assets and make properties pencil, make them make sense. But when we go back to the list to close ratios, again, some more data for some of our viewers, maybe you're a seller in the market, maybe you're a buyer in the market, the average list to close on a percentage was 92.5%. Some properties sold at full asking price. Some properties were sold way below the asking price. That sold at 82% of the asking price. The lowest one was 71% of the asking price in Costa Mesa. Looked like the seller might have had a little higher aspirational pricing expectations on the property, and the property, that particular one, needed a ton of work. So I think there was some discovery, some pricing discovery within that sale, and it ultimately was the biggest swing in value. It closed at 71% of the asking price. But most of the properties we're seeing here, 97% of the asking price, 90% of the asking price, 96% of the asking price, 94% of the asking price. So we're in the 90s. And I think that shows that there's a lot of just sentiment in the market that investors want to acquire in Orange County. They want to be here. They want to put their capital work. They want to be able to make transactions work. And there's a lot more buyers that is not in this report yet because they haven't closed their deals yet. But there's a lot of buyers that want to be in our marketplace, and it's our job to help make transactions come together for our sellers. So if you're in the market, maybe you're not in the market and you're curious and you want to know the value of your building, we've got really good data. I can talk to you one-on-one if you want to know what's going on in Orange County. We know every single comp in the market. We sold a few of these. We know the market, and we want to help investors. So this is Q1 quarterly comps. Let me know if you'd like a report. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again soon.